WOC family, Lexima here, the founder of Women on Change and the Lead and Earn program, where we are inspiring you to make change, particularly in the life of children that you have, which starts with you. Today's topic is how we help parents build self-worth children, or your self-worth parent. What does that mean to be a self-worth parent? Do you feel you're whole, right? And we will look at 4 ways to do that, okay? First, let me share that my experience that I've had working across DC, Maryland, and throughout the nation where I've volunteered and around the world is that the environment that we come from, and while it has some impact, but the biggest influence above all starts with how we think and believe we should think. So the more you can help your child to be an independent soul as much possible, the easier it is for them to overcome many of the challenges that we see, whether it's in school and society, whether it's getting with the bad crowd. It's because they're all trying to belong, right? But if that child knows from an early age that they are enough, they're not going to try to find anybody outside of them. And we have been able to do this by helping adults in particular look at, the grandparents, parents, and then the child, what's happening with the child. And we have to be honest, right? We can deny, and then let me just say, honest is relative to some. Always keep an open mind. The more rigid we are, and believe me, we're all guilty of it, the more rigid we are about so many things, the harder it is to adapt to new ways. And it's no different for a child. And so when a child comes to an environment where they know they have to be a certain group, whether it's the religion, their gender, or whatever, if they're thought to be less than, it's going to manifest somewhere, right? So we help you do this through our program, the Lead and Earn program, by first defining you as an individual. What is worth to you? What is important to you? What is your definition of self-worth, right? And that can be anything for anybody. But if you have kids, you have to be careful how that is being seen or being lived, right? Because they are watching, they are modeling. Do they see mom lives a certain way? Do they see dad lives a certain way? Do they see auntie? Especially if these children are not exposed to so many different environments to experience that there is something different. It's going to be really tough. Number 2, what environment do you and children are thriving in? Are your children happy? Are you happy? Are they not happy? Is it the environment, the people? The immediate environment is the people that you're surrounded by, not the physical, not say the neighborhood of Northeast DC or Arusha, Tanzania, or Gona, Haiti. It's the people that they're surrounded by, whether that's the uncle, mom, dad, whatever. But the immediate family have a huge influence, okay? And so we help you look at these things in the program. Number 3, we look at your child. Let's look at your child. Do you see your child, right? As a child who wasn't seen. And when I say I wasn't seen, I had a lot of responsibility. Everybody knew who I was. They knew I would handle this. That was my job. But I wasn't seen. Nobody cared what else was going on with me, right? Nobody asked, how are you doing? I was the doer, and I modeled that. I grew up to model that. So it's still today. There are people who think, oh, this girl got it. She's cool. She never ask how things going. So I had to learn to see me, right? Once I learned to see me, I found what makes me happy, right? So are you seeing your child, or are you trying to help your child see themselves so they don't have to wait until they're 50 and trying to do that? By then they have 3 kids who are now trying to scramble and trying to do the same thing, right? So that's why we look at the generational model of our program. Fourth, what are you doing about it? How are you helping yourself and your child? Because usually there's a connection. Don't just focus on the child when the child inside of you is crying for help, because the child that you birth that's external of you is going to see more clear than you do. Kids are amazing. They'll tell you what you don't want to hear, but if you really process it, they do have some great lessons for you. And Lord, as an auntie, I've learned quite a lot from my nieces and nephews. They'll speak their mind. They'll tell you what they see. And look, I'm so grateful for my siblings who have children, because I'm grateful. All right. So, as parents, as guardians, however you identify as, what are you working with? And it could be something so small. If you love it, you're doing it well, the children are going to see. If they see mommy get up every day and hug them, it doesn't matter. They'll know that. So be consistent, right, at what you do. Yes, that is something that I am working on. Because as a parentified child, I was brought up to do things. I had my schedule, I had all this. But guess what happens? Once you out of that, because eventually we are out of it. Well, we should be. Some of us never get out of it. And it's a struggle. It's like a drug. You've been doing it for so long. How do you get out of it? So for that routine to break, that routine that wasn't yours, for you to break it, you have to be able to understand yourself enough to know what motivates you and makes you happy. All right. And that's where I help you with this, because I learned quite a lot in these communities working with the kids. All right. And being honest is the first step to do it. All right. Hopefully this helps, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Lexima here. Cheers. But don't forget, click. If you love these contents, click, keep up with our channel. All right. Ciao.